Oh my God, Joe. Okay, we're going to add Seth to the call right now. And we're going to talk to him and see how his life is going.
Hello.
Seth. Yay! How are you doing? This is Mike from Our Big Dumb Mouth, OBDM, and you're on with Joe and Clown Baby.
Awesome. I've never been greeted with a canned applause before, so I'm pretty excited.
All right, how about one of these?
Funny that.
There you go.
Yeah. Sounds like you're wearing something skimpy.
Those I've been a part of.
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk with us a little bit about your new movie and possibly some other topics concerning cryptozoology, UFOs, and the paranormal. I tweeted you to say congratulations on being nominated the 2017 Cryptozoologist of the Year.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I was actually immediately after that was announced and I was given the award. Someone told me I was the cryptozoological version of Tom DeLonge, winning that UFO award that everyone thinks he's totally undeserving of. So I was like, okay, I see how this is going to go. So,
oh boy,
yeah, no, it's pretty cool. The statue itself is worth it. It's awesome. I've never been given an award other than one film festival award. So if nothing else, it inflated my ego for like the 2 minutes before my wife asked me if that actually meant anything.
Now, what's the how big is the award? Is it like a Sasquatch?
It's actually, yeah, it's like 12 feet tall. No, it's probably, from like the base to the top, it's like at its 8 inches, something like that. So
8 inches.
Nice. Is it anatomically correct?
No, he's not. I don't, I'm a little confused, but I think a gold schlong probably would have weirded me out if I saw that. So.
All right. To each their own.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about this new movie you got coming out. Clown Baby has pre-ordered it. I'm going to buy it right when it comes out. And I remember this, like, so when I saw the trailer for the invasion on Chestnut Ridge, correct? It's called On Chestnut Ridge.
On Chestnut Ridge, yeah.
And I was it reminded me of, I was like, what is this? This sounds familiar. And I think we're probably right around the same age, Seth. I'm 23. I think you're about 23 as well. And I remember watching Unsolved Mysteries when I was growing up. And I remember seeing a segment on Kecksburg. Did that inspire you to start this documentary?
It didn't. Although Unsolved Mysteries is a huge inspiration for the style and tone, and even the kind of the storytelling, mode that we used in this movie. So, and I am a huge Unsolved Mysteries fan. I've actually been working my way back through all the original Robert Stack episodes. So, I as a kid was completely unaware of Kecksburg. So actually the real inspiration for this movie was the work of Stan Gordon, and the fact that my co-writer on the movie, Mark Maskey, is a huge Stan Gordon and Chestnut Ridge fan. And if I would have thought of it, I would have sent you guys an advanced screener so you could have watched the movie before we talked, because I'm curious to know, what other children of the 80s and early 90s think of the movie, because it's kind of geared toward those people like me.
Well, I got to confess, I was lying. I'm not 23. I'm actually 39.
Oh yeah, I was trying to process it when you said it, and I was like, "Yeah, am I 23?"
I tell horrible jokes. My bad. If you don't mind, I would actually like to play this about a minute and a half segment from Unsolved Mysteries, talking about Kecksburg, and see how you feel about this and what they're saying about this incident, concerning everything you know now. I'll play Robert Stack talking about this.
Tonight on the season premiere of Unsolved Mysteries. 25 years ago, something odd fell from the sky and crashed in the remote woods near Kecksburg, Pennsylvania. The official Air Force report states that nothing was found, but eyewitnesses claim a strange cone-shaped object was secretly removed. Was it their imagination or a government cover-up? Twilight, December 9th, 1965. A brilliant light streaked through the skies over Canada and the northeastern United States. Thousands of eyewitnesses reported seeing its trail, which was visible for hundreds of miles in every direction. Meanwhile, a call went out to all the local fire departments. Soon, more than 30 volunteer firemen had gathered at the Kecksburg station.
Okay, guys, listen up. There's a plane down over the hill. Now, what we're going to do is split up into quadrants. We'll have teams of 3 men, all right?
Okay.
Mansky, Bill, you come with me.
All right.
Rezi, you get your men, get out of here. Tom, take your unit. Now, I'm not sure, but I think right
We all gathered
down there,
at the fire station, and the report was we had an aircraft that was down in the Kecksburg area.
Yeah, I saw it as I was driving over. Whatever it is, it's burning.
And after we got our assignment and everybody knew what they were doing, they took us in pickup trucks up the road up here, and they dropped us off at certain points going up the hill.
I'll be all right as soon as I get on this town.
As we were proceeding through our grid, we heard the first team, which was down in front of us, radio back, we found the aircraft.
Where's it?
No, I'm going to cut it right there. There's been a lot of rumors of what they actually found, ranging from a meteorite to a space capsule to a UFO to some kind of Russian vehicle as well. But whatever it was, people have claimed that there was some pretty strange writing on the side of it. And the military pretty quickly swept in and took it away.
So that sounds a lot like Roswell kind of stuff. It was this, it was that, it was a. So it's something.
It's usually called the Roswell of the East, and I think it's getting to that point. What's cool is the Kecksburg acorn, the UFO statue that's in town, is actually the UFO seen in that Unsolved Mysteries episode. They actually gave it to the town or the village of Kecksburg, and it's kind of like the centerpiece for the village now. It's, most towns have like a statue of some historical figure, and Kecksburg just has the Unsolved Mysteries Space Acorn memorial on the
amazing
side of this hill there. Yeah.
I'm looking at it. It looks like a giant butt plug.
It looks like a poop emoji. I always say, like the poop emoji. You put a smiley face on it, and that is what you're looking at.
It does, yeah.
Shit was raining from the sky that day, and it caused a lot of confusion. Obviously, eyewitness people and people remember that day very vividly. Did you get a chance to talk to any of these old timers about what they may have found or what they believe?
Yeah. We talked to John. Here's the thing. I'm editing literally three movies at once right now, and one of them came out a year ago. I'm actually going back and touching up some sections of Boggy Creek Monsters. So my names are all getting confused because we interviewed a guy named John Attaway in Boggy Creek Monster, and we interviewed another John in Invasion, and now I'm blanking on what his last name is because I've been doing Boggy all week. But anyway, we interviewed at least two of the original witnesses, and we, that's kind of where the movie launches from, is the Kecksburg incident. So we talked to a couple of the people that were there, and I was in Kecksburg for the UFO festival just 2 months ago or a month ago, and it's still pretty fresh for some of those people that were there back then, to actually see the incident kind of unfold. But I was struck by the fact that even the people that I spoke to don't actually say they saw a UFO. Now, granted, I didn't get to talk to all the witnesses, but the couple I did, talked more about seeing a streak across the sky and hearing something crash in the woods, that kind of stuff. And then one of the people we spoke to actually addressed seeing the military presence kind of come through Kecksburg, although he didn't actually get a look at the truck that supposedly had the space acorn on the flatbed of the trailer. So we spoke to some of the original witnesses, but unlike a lot of our films, in most of our movies, Kecksburg would be the sole focus of this movie. But this is this invasion on Chestnut Ridge is much more of like an anthology story. So it starts with Kecksburg, and then it kind of uses that as a launching point into some really weird places.
Stan Gordon does. He's documented a lot of interesting things in Pennsylvania, and when you read some of his books, you can't help but to come to the conclusion, because because in the same book he'll write about UFO encounters and then large hairy creatures or Bigfoot. And when I'm reading it back to back and looking at timelines, it almost, to me, it seems like the UFO phenomenon, aliens, and Bigfoot are almost linked, and you can't really separate them at this point.
I mean, definitely on the Chestnut Ridge, a lot of those sightings overlap. I wouldn't say it's all of them, or even maybe even not even the predominant number, but there are a decent quantity of those reports where they intersect, and we go into the Uniontown Bigfoot's UFO story in our film, which is the one where a witness saw this strange light in his field and went up to investigate it with two younger kids. And when they got up there, they saw these two Bigfoot-like creatures walking along this fence line in a field. And the guy ended up panicking and firing his shotgun at one of them, and it kind of reached up. And when it reached up, it basically caught the bullet. And as soon as its hand went up and stopped the bullet, the UFO kind of disappeared, leaving this strange illumination on the ground that was later seen by a state police officer who came out to investigate. But there's all sorts of stories like that from the Ridge. There's the kind of famous one, which is there were these two girls waiting for a ride outside of their home, and they saw this white Bigfoot-like creature running across a street and into a woods holding a glowing orb, is basically what they referred to it as. And a minute after they saw it run across the street and down into the woods, they see this UFO come streaking across the sky and this beam of light shoot down into the woods. And there's more to that story, although we didn't get to go into it too much in our film. But there's all kinds of UFO and Bigfoot stories on the Ridge, and it doesn't stop at just Bigfoot, creature sightings. There's all kind of weird creatures that have been spotted along the Ridge, and we get into some of that as well. Although I did find myself drawing the line at one line in the script that talked about giant iridescent caterpillars. I was like, I feel like this might be the point where we lose some of our audience.
Well, I mean, there's been, I think, at least from my recollection, more reports of Bigfoot than giant caterpillars that are iridescent.
Just slightly, yeah. Just a nose ahead.
I kind of like have a little thought or a theory going that Bigfoot or Sasquatch are boots in the ground for the UFOs to round people up, or scare up the local populace, and they'll come in and gather intelligence and all that kind of stuff. Who knows at this point? Mm-hmm. But when you see a couple of them together, or all this kind of weird phenomenon happening, it's hard not to make a correlation or a leap in logic. Say, hey, obviously it's connected, but there could be no correlation at all.
Oh, yeah.
At this point, you've done a lot of research into cryptozoology, all these weird creatures and UFOs. In your opinion, does the U.S. military have any idea of what the Sasquatch or Bigfoot is? Do they care?
I mean, I don't think they care. That's just my personal opinion. I mean, I think a lot of the people we've spoken to who do work in national parks, or, have some sort of connection to the U.S. military, either are mildly interested enough in the subject that they'd like to know for themselves if they exist, or, they laugh it off like most people do. But I don't typically buy into that, the conspiracy theory kind of stuff. Although there definitely is a weird military aspect to the Chestnut Ridge, and it's something I would have loved to include in the movie. And originally I planned on there being a large chunk of the movie devoted to that kind of military aspect. And there still kind of is this cover-up angle to the film that we get into for a little bit with like Men in Black, but we never got into to the military angle. There's actually, we interviewed a guy named Dwayne Pintoff who talked about seeing strange military vehicles and men carrying, like soldiers carrying Russian weapons, like Russian assault rifles. And a lot of people, for some reason, think that there's some sort of Russian military training going on the Chestnut Ridge. And it's not directly connected to the Bigfoot sightings, but it is weird how much goes on the ridge beyond just paranormal phenomena like, UFOs and Bigfoot. And that's something we wanted to get into in our film. It's supposed to kind of open the door to just how much there is going on there beyond what you typically think of when you think paranormal. There's a brief mention of ghosts and hauntings and things like that, but it goes way beyond that into orbs and dogman sightings and thunderbirds and all kinds of stuff.
It almost sounds like almost another Mothman kind of situation. Like, you did a film about Mothman, and what started off as just like a sighting of a flying creature. There are reports of, like you said in the movie, of men in black, strange people on the highway, pale skinned people, and then UFO encounters, like a whole, almost everything, anything you think of was thrown at that town and people saw it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely has correlations to that. And originally, Invasion was the second part in our High Strangeness trilogy. We've changed the High Strangeness title to be Appalachian Monsters. So it's going to be Mothman and Invasion, and then the Flatwoods Monster movie we're working on. But it's definitely got some correlations with Mothman. It's also got, the movie opens with some places that people are very familiar with as being kind of beacons for strange activities. You see Stonehenge and the Bermuda Triangle and typical places people think of when they think of hubs for weird, paranormal activity. And I would also compare the Chestnut Ridge to that kind of thing, some sort of strange, I think Lauren Coleman calls it a window area. So it's almost like, and in fact, there's actually a story in the movie where one of the witnesses talks about seeing this orb moving through the woods at night and actually going into like a window into another dimension in the middle of the woods that he saw open up. So there's, it's not my comfort zone. I'll say that. Like, this kind of story is not my comfort zone. I'm a big fan of like the flesh and blood creature stories, but something about this is very intriguing to me that all this stuff goes on in this one place.
What does your family think of you?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on which side of the family.
Oh, okay.
Really? There you go.
Well, I'm curious. My parents know I talk about some pretty interesting things on this show. But I mean, you're out there, you're public, you're making movies, you're actually making well-crafted movies that you should be proud of. And you would hope that your immediate family would be like, yeah, this is a well-made movie. Or do you get those kind of that support from your family?
Definitely from my immediate family, my parents, my sisters and brother and all that, the extended family, in-laws, kind of occasionally that can be the case, but yeah, I mean, my mom and dad have been to most of the places where we filmed, including Fouke, Arkansas, Point Pleasant. They were there for the premiere. They were helping. My dad held the reflector for interviews when I shot Beast of Whitehall. So, I mean, my parents have always been really supportive of the films, and they're big fans. They're like probably my biggest supporters when it comes to actually putting the movies together, other than my crew.
That's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. So you don't feel like you're a complete outcast, just a little bit of an outcast, but that's
just a little, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I grew up that way.
Now, I'm not sure if it would spoil anything, or maybe not. I don't think you said this. Do you bring up I know there's been theories, I guess, proposed that the Kecksburg Bell is actually Die Glocke, the Nazi bell that was allegedly built towards the end of World War II? As is the case with most of our movies, we really don't get into like a lot of the theories about what the actual origins are. All we really do is talk to a couple of the people who were there, say this is what they saw, and it was kind of the impetus for ongoing activity all along the ridge, because that really does seem to be when things really kicked off.
on the Chestnut Ridge. Kecksburg UFO crashes just off the ridge, and from then on, it was an ongoing one thing after the next. It's UFOs, and then it's Bigfoot, and then it's Thunderbirds and strange lights in the sky and orbs and dogmen. So we use Kecksburg more or less as the spot to kind of jump off into some of these really strange stories. And it's very much a Halloween movie. And we were aware of that going into this. And like I said, I watched freaking Unsolved Mysteries nonstop. I really did. I like lived and breathed 80s and late 70s and early 80s television, paranormal television. So I watched a ton of In Search Of and a ton of Unsolved Mysteries, and not necessarily to like rip it off or anything, but more to try to understand the tone of storytelling and how they did go from one story that's completely unconnected to another story. Because that's the thing about a lot of these stories is they're not connected to anything else in the movie other than by the merit of where they took place, which is on the Chestnut Ridge.
And also the tone and the narration goes a long way. And the narration in your movies is very well done. You do present it in a non-biased way, almost the way David Politis does with Missing 411, where he doesn't really insert his own opinions. It's just, here are some facts, draw from it as you will.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think anyone that is going to approach the subject and want to do it as an objective documentary or approach it objectively, that's the only way to do it, really.
Would you consider working with David Politis and doing a new Missing 411 movie?
I'm not going to say. I had someone posting on my timeline that I gotta help David out because his Missing 411 movie didn't meet their expectations, and I'm like, man, I just, as a guy that's been doing this for 3 years now, I would never try to tell someone else how to make their movie. I haven't actually been able to see his Missing 411 movie, but I know the guy knows what he's doing, and I know his son is super talented as a filmmaker. So I would, if he approached me and was like, hey, you want to do this? I would probably be like, yeah. But as far as like offering him tips, I think, I don't know what the heck I would say to that guy.
Well, are you going to by chance be at MUFON in Pennsylvania in Greensburg this November?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, well, we're going to be partying
will
there.
Be there.
Yeah, we're going to be.
Politis will be there, and we'll bring you up. We have the we have the cocktail hour with all the guests. But I'm sure everybody will swarm Politis. But we'll try and get a word in, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I got to meet him about 2 years ago at a Bigfoot conference here in Ohio, and he's a nice guy. We actually were working on Beast of Whitehall at the time, and the guy that does the music for the movie went over and was talking to him, and he was right back then he was still filming Missing 411. So it's been a long road, but the guy's got to be proud of the movie, right? I haven't seen it. Like I said, I haven't seen it.
It's really well shot.
Yeah.
But it's different than what I expected. He just kind of, I guess the basic premise, I think there's 4 or 5 cases they go over, but there's no real, it was a lot different than what I thought was going to happen.
I'm assuming
that's what I keep hearing.
And an editor can make a movie feel any which way, and it probably could be edited totally differently, but be that as it may. We're talking to you right now about the invasion on Chestnut Ridge. I'm looking forward to it. I like this stuff. I watched the Legend of Boggy Creek. That was on Amazon Prime. I think it's still there. I think people can still check it out. Watched the Mothman, bought that one. That was awesome. I'm looking forward to this one. And I got to go back and check out some of your other ones as well.
I had a question, if I could, because you mentioned the parents and the family and all that stuff. And I was wondering, first of all, where did you get your skill to edit, if I may? Are you self-taught?
Yeah, self-taught. And I consider myself very unskilled and untalented at editing. It's like my biggest my biggest issue is my editing skills, because we watched Mothman this past weekend at the Cryptozoology conference, and I was cringing through the entire movie. Like I can't go back and watch this stuff after it's done, or I just want to smack myself or like hang myself or something. It's like totally self-taught. I watch a lot of YouTube tutorials with my free time. So like if I'm in bed, like right before I go to bed, I'm usually laying there with my iPad on my lap and my headphones in, and I'll watch some YouTube tutorials. And I'm always trying to get better at this stuff because I'm not very good at it.
That's amazing. So the second part of my question is that's amazing, first of all, because you obviously have a good fan base. People are supporting it. They like what you do. You're prolific, 2 movies a year. But you know what happens when stuff like this it becomes part of somebody's life? You get accused of being a shill or disinfo. Are you getting this like crazy?
Oh yeah, I've gotten that since Minerva Monster. During Minerva Monster, I was told, and that was our first movie, and we were nobody. And I mean, I'm still nobody, but we were told during that
you're nobody. You're the 2017 Cryptozoologist of the Year. Come on, you gotta.
Yeah, exactly. Come on.
Show them the trophy.
You're nobody.
No, it's been pretty consistent since Minerva. I've been accused of being a shill for the government. Last year there was a certain fairly well-known Mothman researcher who was insistent that me and my wife were CIA disinfo agents.
Well, are you?
Come on. Clear the record.
Answer the question.
I can't tell you right now. I can't do it. Sorry, someone would kill me.
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, it's been pretty consistent.
Yeah, I was just curious about it because it's like it's one thing your family is like, yeah, whatever, he's doing his thing, that guy, and so it's almost kind of normal. My parents still don't know what I do. I work in advertising and graphic design. They're just like, he does computer stuff, so they just have no interest. But then you're absolutely like making a name for yourself, and it's every time I see people who I'm a fan of get big, it's like everybody has to dog on the dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the biggest mistakes I made, or I don't think it's a mistake, but I use that as a joke, but I did a podcast called Sasquatch, which was like me talking about Bigfoot with my buddy Mark, who actually co-wrote Invasion with me. And people are still upset at me over certain things I said on Sasquatch, because back then I was extremely skeptical, probably more so than I am now, and it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. So I just got a message last night from a guy running me up a flagpole over something he didn't like. I couldn't even understand it, to be honest. A Facebook message, by the way, a private message, just telling me how something I had said 2 years ago ticked him off.
Well, are you on Reddit, and what is your username? So people can hate you. No, don't tell anybody.
Yeah, don't say that.
I'm not. Don't worry.
Okay, good. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. I'm a huge fan of yours. You could have said you went to film school, and I would have believed you. I'm not just kissing your ass, because it's very, very, very well crafted, and they are professionally edited. And by the way, the sound quality, top notch. Everything's even and compressed. That's a big issue for me. So you guys are doing a good job over there.
We're working on that. That is our biggest issue, though. Movie to movie has been our sound, and that's one of the things that was driving me crazy with watching Mothman the other day. Is I feel like the music gets way too loud during the audio taped interviews with the original witnesses, and you can hardly hear them. And that was my fault.
I actually made that criticism when we did a little review of yours, and I wasn't sure if it was due to the compression or normalization. You can overcompress some stuff.
It was just me. The reason I'm re-editing Boggy right now is because we signed with a major distributor finally, and they QC'd it like almost immediately. They were like, there's an audio hiss here, there's this here. So I'm kind of going back through and trying to utilize all the stuff I've picked up over the last year on editing, and try to, just fix some of the little minor technical things with Boggy that need fixed.
Well, congratulations. You're doing a hell of a job. Everyone needs to go to smalltownmonsters.com, buy these motherfucking movies because they're well worth it, and support Seth. You got some T-shirts that people can buy?
Oh, we got t-shirts out the wazoo. I just picked up like 400 shirts from Jack Prince today, actually. So we got 3 different.
Are you gonna wear them
on this? Oh yeah, one layer after the next.
Yes, okay.
It's going to be incredible. And we just got these cool Small Town Monsters Halloween T-shirts, they took my buddy Zach actually designed it. It's our production company logo, with the houses with the faces. Only they're jack-o'-lanterns, so it's cool. We're gonna run those until they sell out.
Well, fantastic. Yeah, smalltownmonsters.com. Check it out. You can pre-order The Invasion on Chestnut Ridge, and check out all the rest of his movies and support this guy. He's doing the work you want to do, people, but he's actually doing it. So,
one quick question. Yeah. I know there was a Kickstarter for Chestnut Ridge and Mothman, but is there one for the Flatwoods Monster and the others?
Yeah, we are doing January 26th, so it's still a ways off, but we are getting ready to kick that off next year, and it'll actually fund the next 3 Small Town Monsters movies. So it'll fund On the Trail of Champ, which is kind of a mini series that's coming from us, directed by my buddy Alexander Petikoff, produced by me, and then Flatwoods, and then we have a 3rd movie, which will be our 6th, seventh. The 7th movie. So the 6th and 7th Small Town Monsters movies will be coming in 2018. One, which is Flatwoods, will be coming in April, and then On the Trail of Champ, which is a miniseries, will be out in June. And then there's another movie coming next October, which we'll be announcing here soon. But it's something people have been asking us to do for a long time.
Well, that's awesome. I could probably ask you questions about what you're going to do next all night, and I'll have to wait till next time. So
we're scheduled through. We are literally scheduled through 2020 right now. So I've got a board that has pretty much everything we want to do between now and 2020, and that includes the guidebook that we're working on.
I'd be interested in that. Wow. Well, congratulations. Thank you so much, Seth. I really appreciate you coming on here and bullshitting with us. It really means a lot to me. And we'll put all the links to the GoFundMe and all that stuff in the description so people can go there and support you. Hopefully, they better goddamn do it.
All right. Thanks for being supportive, guys.
No problem. Take it easy.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
There he goes. I'm going to blow him up. He deserves it.
You might as well blow him.
I might as well blow him. Was I being too nice?
No, I think we were the right amount of nice.
I think I was even nice. Like,
you said his sound quality sucked.
No, I didn't. I said it was actually pretty good.
No, I was kidding.